The moment you say, "I'm sorry," when you've done nothing wrong, the person in front of you doesn't see you as more polite. They see you as weaker. And from that second forward, they will treat you exactly that way. Here's the part that keeps me up at night. No one tells you when it happens. There's no alarm, no warning, just a shift in how people look at you, talk to you, and value what you say. I know this because I used to be that person. I once counted 47 apologies in a single meeting. 47 times I said sorry for speaking, for asking questions, for existing in a room I was invited to. And you want to know the worst part? I thought I was being professional. If you've ever left a conversation and felt smaller, this is for you. Like this video, not for me, but so the algorithm pushes it to people who are shrinking themselves without realizing it. And comment calm if you want to learn how to hold your ground without saying more than you need to. Because what I'm about to show you isn't just communication advice. It's the difference between being heard and being ignored. Let me start with something nobody warns you about. The world doesn't operate on kindness. It operates on perception. And every single interaction you have carries an invisible evaluation. People aren't asking if you're good. They're reading whether you're certain, whether you need them, whether you're asking permission. And the moment you apologize unnecessarily, you send a signal, "I'm waiting for you to accept me." Here's a test. Think about the last time someone interrupted you. What did you do? If you said, "Oh, sorry, go ahead, congratulations," you just taught that person they can interrupt you anytime. You apologized for taking up space, and they logged it. But here's what most people miss. There are 3 types of apologies that destroy your position faster than anything else you can say, and I guarantee you've used at least one of them today. I'll tell you all 3, but the last one is the killer. It's the one that makes people see you as subordinate even when you outrank them. Before we get there, let me show you what happened when I stopped apologizing. I was in a client call. I joined 3 minutes late because the previous meeting ran over. The old me would have opened with, "I'm so sorry I'm late, traffic was crazy, thank you so much for waiting." Instead, I said, "Thanks for your patience, let's dive in." 4 words, no groveling, no explanation they didn't ask for. And something shifted in that room. The client leaned forward instead of back. The entire energy changed, not because I was rude, but because I stopped performing weakness. That's example 1, late arrival. Old script, "I'm so sorry I'm late." New script, "Thanks for waiting." You acknowledge it without making it the centerpiece. You move forward with authority. Watch how different people respond when you stop asking to be forgiven for having a schedule. Now here's where it gets interesting. Most people think apologizing makes them easier to work with, more likable, more mature. But Machiavelli said something that cuts through all of that. Power is lost the moment you confess to a crime no one accused you of. Read that again. You're convicting yourself of things nobody was prosecuting. Which brings me to the first situation that destroys your credibility. Apologizing before anyone asks. You send an email at 9 p.m. and write, "Sorry for the late response. Nobody said it was late." You did. You walk into a room and say, "Sorry, am I interrupting?" Nobody said you were. You just made yourself an interruption. Every time you do this, you're training people to see you as someone who needs permission. And here's the dangerous part. Once they see you that way, they can't unsee it. You've set the frame. And frames are nearly impossible to break. Let me give you the rewrite. Email scenario. Instead of "Sorry for the late response," try this. "Just saw your message. Here's what you need." No apology, no performance, just value. You responded when you could, and now you're handling it. That's authority. Walking into a room, instead of "Sorry, am I interrupting?" say this. Quick question when you have a moment. You're not apologizing for existing. You're stating your intent and respecting their time without diminishing yours. You see the pattern? You're not becoming rude. You're becoming precise. And precision is what separates people who get taken seriously from people who get taken advantage of. But let me tell you about the second situation. This one is subtle, and it's the reason people walk all over you without even realizing they're doing it. You apologize when someone tests your boundaries. Someone cuts you off mid-sentence. You stop talking and say, "Sorry, go ahead." What just happened? They pushed. You folded. And now they know your boundaries are negotiable. Here's what that looks like in real time. You're presenting an idea. Someone interrupts with a question that you were about to address. Old response: "Oh, sorry, let me clarify that real quick." New response: "I'm getting to that in a moment." 3 words. No apology, no collapse, just a boundary. And here's what happens next. They wait. Because you didn't give them permission to derail you. You held your position, and people respect what you protect. I learned this the hard way in a pitch meeting 2 years ago. I was explaining our pricing model. A potential client cut me off and said, "That seems high." The old me would have panicked and said, "Sorry, let me explain the value breakdown." Instead, I paused, looked at him, and said, "It is. Here's why." Then I continued exactly where I left off. We got the contract, and afterwards, he told me the pause was what sold him. He said most people crumble when challenged, but I held my ground without getting defensive. That's what he wanted to see. Now, here's the third situation. And this is the one that silently destroys your authority in every conversation you have. You apologize to fill silence. Someone stops talking. There's a pause, and your nervous system panics. So you blurt out, "Sorry, I'm probably rambling," or "Sorry, I'm taking up too much time." What you just did was apologize for being heard. You told the other person that you don't believe you deserve their attention, and once you communicate that, they will treat your words as optional. Let me paint this picture. You're in a one-on-one with your manager. You're explaining why you think a project should pivot. You finish your point. There's 3 seconds of silence while they think, and you can't handle it. So you fill it with, "Sorry, I know I'm talking a lot." You just erased everything you said. Because now they're not thinking about your idea. They're processing the fact that you don't believe in it enough to let it breathe. Silence isn't rejection. It's processing. And when you apologize for it, you rob your words of weight. Here's the move. When you finish speaking and there's silence, let it sit. Count to 5 in your head. Don't fill it. Don't soften it. Let your point land. Because confident people aren't afraid of silence. They use it. Now, let's talk about the flip side. When you actually mess up. Because this is where people get it backwards. They think strong people never apologize. That's not true. Strong people apologize with precision. Here's the difference. Weak apology. "I'm so sorry I dropped the ball on that. I feel terrible. I don't know what I was thinking. I hope you can forgive me." That's not an apology. That's a therapy session. You're asking them to manage your guilt. Strong apology. "I missed that deadline. It delayed your timeline. Here's how I'm fixing it and what I'm putting in place so it doesn't happen again." You named the behavior. You owned the impact. You moved to the solution. No drama, no begging, just accountability. The person on the receiving end doesn't have to do anything. They don't have to say, "It's okay." They don't have to make you feel better. You handled it. That's the difference between an apology that lowers your status and one that maintains it. Let me give you one more contrast. Imagine you gave someone wrong information in an email. Weak version: "I'm so sorry. I totally messed that up. I should have double-checked. My bad." Strong version: "I sent you incorrect data in my last email. The accurate number is this. I've updated the shared file." Same situation, completely different energy. One is collapsing, one is correcting. People remember how you handle mistakes more than the mistakes themselves. Now here's the thing nobody talks about. Your relationship with apologies is your relationship with power. If you apologize to avoid conflict, you've made peace more valuable than truth. If you apologize to be liked, you've made approval more valuable than respect. And if you apologize to fill discomfort, you've made other people's ease more valuable than your presence. Think about the people you actually respect, the ones whose opinions matter to you. Do they apologize for everything? Do they hedge every sentence with, "I might be wrong, but"? Do they shrink themselves to make you comfortable? No, they speak clearly. They own their errors without theater. They take up space without apology. And that's exactly why you respect them. Here's the pattern you need to see. Every unnecessary apology teaches people how to treat you. It's not a one-time thing, it's training. You apologize for being late once, they expect you to be late. You apologize for asking questions, they stop valuing your input. You apologize for taking up time, they start scheduling over you. And the worst part? You're doing it to yourself. Nobody forced you. You're volunteering for a lower position because somewhere along the way you learned that being small keeps you safe. But here's the truth, it doesn't keep you safe, it keeps you stuck. Let me tell you what happens when you stop. At first, it feels wrong. You'll finish a sentence without apologizing and your brain will scream at you. You'll think you were rude. You'll want to go back and soften it. Don't. That discomfort you're feeling? That's not you being rude. That's you breaking a pattern that's been running your life. Here's what I want you to do. For the next 7 days, catch yourself before you apologize. Ask one question. Did I actually cause harm, or am I just trying to make someone comfortable? If it's harm, apologize with precision. Name it. Fix it. Move on. If it's comfort, replace the apology with something else. Instead of "sorry for the delay," say "thanks for your patience." Instead of "sorry to bother you," say "do you have a minute?" Instead of "sorry, I'm not sure," say "let me find out and get back to you." Instead of "sorry for rambling," say nothing, just stop talking. Watch what happens. Watch how people lean in instead of talking over you. Watch how your words start carrying more weight. Watch how much more space you suddenly have, not because you took it from anyone, but because you stopped giving it away. Here's something that surprised me. When I stopped over-apologizing, the people who respected me more. And the people who were using my politeness to control me got uncomfortable. Some adjusted, some left. And that told me everything I needed to know about why they were there in the first place. Because here's the reality. There are people in your life who benefit from you being smaller. People who like it when you apologize for existing, when you question yourself, when you need their approval. And the moment you stop providing that, they'll call you arrogant. They'll say you've changed. They'll tell you you're not as nice as you used to be. And they're right. You're not. You're clearer. You're steadier. You're harder to manipulate. And they're noticing. Let me be direct about what this really is. This isn't about never apologizing. It's about understanding that every time you apologize unnecessarily, you're communicating something about your status. You're telling people where you rank yourself, and they believe you. If you walk into a room and immediately apologize for being there, people will treat you like you're lucky to have been invited. If you speak and then apologize for speaking, people will stop listening. If you set a boundary and then apologize for it, people will push harder next time. Your words train the world how to treat you. And if your most common word is sorry, you're training people to see you as someone who needs forgiveness, just for existing. Now let me tell you what strength actually sounds like. It's not loud, it's not aggressive, it's not dominating every conversation. Strength is knowing when your apology adds value and when it subtracts from your authority. Strength is saying, "I was wrong about that. Here's how I'm correcting it," without needing validation that you're still a good person. Strength is holding silence when someone challenges you, instead of scrambling to make them comfortable. And here's the shift that changes everything. When you stop apologizing to manage other people's emotions, you become someone whose emotions don't need to be managed. You become steady, and steady is magnetic. Think about it. Who do you call when something goes wrong? The person who panics and apologizes, or the person who stays calm and handles it? The second one, every time. Because you trust their stability, and stability comes from not needing external approval to stay grounded. This is what I mean when I say, your relationship with apologies is your relationship with power. Powerful people don't apologize less because they're arrogant. They apologize less because they have nothing to prove. They already know their value. They're not asking you to confirm it. And when they do apologize, it means something. Because it's rare. Because it's precise. Because it comes from choice, not fear. So here's the final piece. The next time you feel the word sorry rising in your throat, pause. Take one breath. Ask yourself what you're really trying to say. If it's accountability, own it and move to the solution. If it's gratitude, say thank you. If it's a boundary, state it clearly. And if it's fear, say nothing. Because the world doesn't need another person apologizing for taking up space. It needs people who know their value and aren't afraid to hold it. People who can be wrong without collapsing. People who can be challenged without folding. People who can hold silence without filling it with weakness. You don't become less kind when you stop over-apologizing. You become more honest. You stop pretending your needs don't matter. You stop pretending other people's comfort is your job to manufacture. And you start showing up as someone who already has the approval they used to beg for. This channel isn't for people who want to be liked. It's for people who want to be taken seriously. If you're choosing steadiness over people-pleasing, you're in the right place. If you're done asking permission to exist, stay here. Comment calm if you're ready to stop apologizing for taking up space. Because the people who respect you don't need you smaller. And the people who need you smaller don't deserve your respect.